Let's now give you some attention to the developments in the United States. Former President of the U.S., Donald Trump, has been found guilty of fraud. New York Judge Arthur Engoron has ruled that he committed fraud for years while building his real estate empire. The ruling came in a civil lawsuit brought by New York's Attorney General Letitia James. We have a report.
Letitia James, a Democrat, sued Donald Trump and the Trump Organization a year ago, accusing them of fraudulently overvaluing the real estate company's assets, including skyscrapers, golf courses, and his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. In his ruling, the presiding judge, Arthur Engoron, found that Mr. Trump consistently overvalued Mar-a-Lago, inflating its value to as much as 2,300%. The judge says Mr. Trump also allegedly lied about the size of his Manhattan apartment, claiming his three-story tower penthouse was nearly 3 times its actual size, valuing it at $327 million. Justice Engoron also found that Donald Trump, his company, and key executives repeatedly lied on annual financial statements to reap favorable loan terms and lower insurance premiums in violation of the law. The judge ordered that some of Mr. Trump's business licenses be rescinded as punishment. The former president of the United States has made a series of statements against the decision, calling it un-American and part of an ongoing plot to damage his campaign to return to the White House. His lawyer, Christopher Case, says they would appeal, calling the decision completely disconnected from the facts and governing law.
Join me now from Texas in the United States for in-depth analysis of the Trump judicial saga is a global affairs analyst, Boye Akinokun. Thank you for joining us on The World Now. Misrepresenting his wealth by hundreds of millions of dollars. What do you make of this ruling?
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, ladies. Well, it's obvious from records and everything that we have seen that President Trump has inflated all the financial figures, everything that has to do with his business, and that's what the New York judge confirmed yesterday. The case is still a long-run battle, and I'm sure the former president is going to appeal, and we're going to see how this ends.
And this summary ruling actually has potential of hampering Donald Trump's ability to do business in New York. Do you think it might just have a small blow on his presidential bid?
I believe the former president anticipated things were going to come this way. And it looks from everything we are seeing, he has moved a lot of the things that has to do with his business out of New York. In anticipation of this, I understand his bank accounts. Of course, we know he changed his address to Florida. So it feels like he anticipated and prepared for this, but it's still going to be a blow on the physical presence that he has in New York. He has the Trump Tower and all the other businesses right there. Yet he won't be able to run the business because that's what the New York State is trying to achieve with this court case.
Mr. Trump's attorneys are regarding this a miscarriage of justice, and they, as a matter of fact, calling it a political witch hunt. What do you think?
Well, that's the normal thing lawyers will say. That's the normal thing a defendant will say. It's the courts will decide on this. The courts will let us know if this is true or not at the end of the day. But this is long coming. I don't think they can argue against all the evidences that have been provided because it's a matter of figures. We can see this property was valued at this amount today, and when you're presenting it for something else, it's valued at something. So I mean, it's clear, but the law has its own way of dealing with things. So we'll see how this ends up.
As it stands, the judge in this case, Engoron, has been accused of being highly politicized. And as a matter of fact, he is being sued by Mr. Trump's attorneys. What is your reaction to this?
Everything coming out of New York looks highly political. The state is ruled by the Democratic Party, and it's an easy case for Mr. Trump to bring up against the New York State, saying this is political and all that. But the courts will have a say. That case is in court already to sue the judge and I think the Attorney General of New York. So we'll see what the court comes up with. But with the facts and figures, I'm not sure that can be argued against. So wait for the technicalities on law and how that comes up. But yeah, we'll see where the courts end up with this.
Before this latest development, Mr. Trump appeared to be a cat with 9 lives. Garnering even much more support than he used to before his cases in court broke out. How does that place him as he seeks to take the #1 seat again in the U.S.?
Mr. Trump is still a cat with 9 lives. He has fought many battles, and he has been able to scale all the hurdles that's been put in front of him. This is a civil case; it's not a criminal case, so we'll see how this ends up again. But he has shown his ability. He's a budget fighter, and he's going to. It looks like he's going to fight this to the end. And if he loses, he's going to have to pay a fine and lose his license to run a business in New York State. I don't think it's going to have too much effect on the elections, as we have seen. His support is increasing in every one of the United States.
But then I'm also curious, really, as to how Americans are reacting to this, because, Mr. Trump is being accused of defrauding banks and insurers, overvaluing his property, his business, the Trump Tower, and all of those. What do you think is the perception of many Americans as they head to the polls, really?
The political base in the United States is sharply divided. Trump has his cult followership, and there's nothing that he can do that can change how they view things and what they see. They believe so, and that's why he's saying it out that this is witch hunt. So they're running with that. And the other side of the aisle, they believe these are fraudulent cases. These are things that shouldn't be happening to our presidential candidates. You cannot be president of the United States without. So it's sharply divided, and I guess it's going to continue until the elections are over. And his supporters will still be there, and the people against him will always be there also. Yeah.
Well, and there's so many people across the world looking up to America as the pride of democracy. Wait to see how this trial eventually goes and what will be the outcome of next year's election. I must sincerely appreciate you, Boya Akinokun, for joining us on The World Now.
Thank you for having me.